Station 1, jobs needing food or fuel. So the first thing it says here is blow up the balloon, tie the neck. Hold the spring between my hands, stretch it and release. There's a spring here, a similar spring stretched permanently between two nails. There's a mass which I can lift by pulling on the string. I can use it as a paperweight, and I can also raise it in two different ways. So I can raise it by pulling straight up on the string, or I can run the string over a pulley and I can raise it by pulling horizontally on the string. And the idea of this exercise is that you have a think about each of those situations. They're simple examples of jobs to be done, and in each case the question is, do you need food or fuel in order to do that job? And so when we think about these things, in order to blow the balloon up, I need to have some breakfast so that I am able to do that job, but whilst it's just sitting there holding the air inside, then that doesn't require food or fuel. We've got the spring in order to stretch that. Yes, I need to have eaten my breakfast again, so it requires some food in order to do that. When I let it go, it just springs back. This spring though, which is permanently stretched, it doesn't need any food or fuel in order to stay in that stretched condition. The mass that's sitting on top of the paper, acting as a paperweight, that doesn't require any food or fuel. It can stay there as long as we can be bothered to watch it. But when I am lifting this mass, which is quite heavy, then I again need to have eaten my breakfast. I need some food in order to be able to do that job, and it doesn't make any difference whether I'm lifting it straight up or whether I'm pulling horizontally over the pulley. Yeah, the amount of force that's required to move it is the same, and the distance that I move it is also the same, so it's actually the same job requiring the same amount of breakfast, even though it's done in two different ways. I guess one of the other things that you could think about here is about whether there's any of my breakfast is being kind of stored so that it can be released later. So for instance, if I use a little bit of my breakfast to stretch this spring, is there something stored there which we can get back later? So could I use this spring to do a job that in the end depends on me eating my breakfast, but by storing something in the spring, can we use my breakfast later? Does it not need me to be there anymore? And the same with the balloon. Yeah, that used a bit of Weetabix in order for me to be able to blow it up. But if I was to give this to somebody else and they were to go off somewhere nowhere near me, could they use a little bit of my Weetabix later on to make the balloon accelerate to a high speed? And the answer, I guess, is yes.